What's up, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB Recap. Jazz Chisholm Jr. has single-handedly saved Brian Cashman from the wrath of Yankees fans because the Yankees, in general, kind of had a slow deadline. The trade deadline as a whole was a different story, was anything but slow. We have over 20 trades to talk about today, as the Marlins, they traded over 25% of their roster. Off-season trade pieces like Eugenio Suarez and Jorge Polanco, they're finally finding their grooves, and the Oakland A's, they will not stop hitting home runs. We have multiple players from the A's who just had historic months of July. Let me get the e-baiting out the way. Don't forget that Recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off your tickets, and if you download Underdog Fantasy using my code Fuzzy, new users will get a $250 bonus cash credit and this free pick'em. You're welcome. So because we have so many trades to talk about, unfortunately, I'm not going to go in depth with every single trade unless it's a bigger one. So Tanner Scott, he's going from the Marlins to the Padres. So the Padres, they've added Jason Adam and Tanner Scott. So going Jason Adam, Tanner Scott, and Robert Suarez in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, that is not going to be fun in a playoff series. And as you can see, Tanner has 53 strikeouts and 45 innings with a 1.18 ERA. He was really good last year as well. So the Padres, they give up 3 of their top 5 prospects, and that's really it. They needed another bullpen guy, and they got one of the best of them. Also going to the Padres, this was a smaller trade. Martin Perez, who used to be an all-star, he's going to San Diego as well from Pittsburgh. Another Marlins reliever that got traded, Huascar Brazoban. If I said that wrong, I'm very sorry, but he's an older player. He's 34 years old, going on 35 in October. He's got 34 strikeouts and a 2.9 ERA. That's a pretty good add to the Mets bullpen. More former Marlins, Brian De La Cruz has been traded again. If you guys don't remember, he was traded for Jimmy Garcia back in the day when Jimmy was on the Marlins. He went from Houston to Miami. Brian is on the move yet again. He's going to the Pirates. And Brian, although he doesn't get on base a lot, he only has a .289 on base percentage. He does have 18 home runs and 51 RBIs. And if we take a look at the doubles, he's got 19 doubles as well. Last year, he had 32 doubles. So again, the walk rate is not very great, but at least he finds a gap every so often. The Pirates were not done. They added Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who has been incredible this year. 7 home runs, a .340 on base, and the platinum defense at whatever position you put him at. He will be a welcomed addition into that team. I'm not saying that he's going to replace anyone, but as a utility guy, a perfect fit. I was thinking that if you were going to trade for Jack Flaherty, you were going to have to give away your firstborn child, but apparently the Dodgers don't have to do that because they're the Dodgers. So the Tigers, I don't know if they overplayed their hand and waited too long and then panic sold, but Jack Flaherty is going to the Dodgers. He's going back home. He's from California. He was sensational in the first half, an all-star. Wait, was he an all-star? Wait, he wasn't an all-star? Okay, he had 133 strikeouts and a 2.9 ERA with the Tigers, but was not an all-star. Somehow. One more LA trade. We have Kevin Kiermaier going from the Jays to the Dodgers. That's all I have to say about that. His final ride into the sunset will be in LA. Eloy Jimenez, his career with the White Sox is over. He ends his White Sox tenure on one of the worst low streaks of his entire life with 5 home runs, a .240 batting average, and an 81 OPS plus. Now, of course, he's going to a better team, so maybe that's going to pump him up. I mean, back in his prime, he was one of the better right-handed hitters in baseball, and I have no issue saying that he's one of the guys in baseball that will have no problem with that left field in Camden Yards because he's got pop for days. Hasn't showed it this year, but he's still got some juice in that bat. The Orioles also picked up Gregory Soto, so Baltimore is just going to the Phillies well when it comes to getting relief pitchers. So they first got Sir Anthony Dominguez. Now they're getting Gregory Soto, who was pretty good up until he allowed 4 runs the last week. And one note I do want to make as well. The Orioles, they've also called up Jackson Holliday. So they're doing a lot right now. The Gregory Soto replacement in Philadelphia, Tanner Banks, he's going from the White Sox to the Philadelphia Phillies. And as you can see, the 4 ERA is not that great, but he does have 55 strikeouts and 48 innings. So again, going from a garbage can franchise to a playoff contender, I think he might get re-energized. Alex Cobb is going to the Guardians, although he won't be making his Guardians debut for at least 2 or 3 weeks because he's dealing with some blisters, and that was after he missed the first half with some hip issues. I think it was hip issues, but in his prime, Alex Cobb throws a 96, 97 mile per hour sinker. He's got incredible stuff. He's always been a FIP god. Lucas Erceg is on the move as well. He's going to the Royals. The Royals, they added a couple pieces. Erceg, he's a former infielder, I think, turned pitcher, and because of that, he throws absolute gas. I think he has one of the highest average fastballs in all of Major League Baseball. So that is a welcome addition. They added Hunter Harvey a couple days ago. Paul DeJong, he's staying within the division. So the White Sox, they lied. They said they were not going to trade in the division. You liars. He's got 18 home runs, 275 on base. So he's a lot like Brian De La Cruz. where he doesn't get on base a lot, but he's got some power. Staying with the AL Central, Mark Canha is no longer in the Central. He's going to the Giants as kind of a Jorge Soler replacement. Now, Mark Canha does get on base a lot. He's got a 340 on base, and Jorge Soler has been the leadoff hitter for the Giants, so maybe Mark is the new leadoff hitter. I don't know, but he's on the Giants now. Josh Bell really stunk it up for the Marlins, aside from the last week or two, and the Diamondbacks, they're capitalizing on that momentum because Christian Walker, I think he just hit the shelf. He's going to be missing some time, so Josh Bell, perfect timing to add him. Luis Garcia, I know there's a lot of Luis Garcias, but this guy's been in the league since 2013, so he's the oldest Luis Garcia. He had a 3.7 ERA with 40 strikeouts and 43 innings, so he's not the nastiest guy, but he's going to the Red Sox in exchange for a pretty good prospect package. I won't talk about them all today, but a Matthew Lugo, that's a good steal. Although I will say not trading Tyler Anderson, Luis Rengifo, Taylor Ward, putting Anthony Rendon on the IL, and then announcing that Mike Trout had a setback in his knee, not a great deadline for Angels fans. Nope, not at all. Brian Cashman botched these trades. So Caleb Ferguson had a lot of strikeouts, 41 strikeouts in 33 innings, but the ERA was terrible. So Victor Gonzalez and Caleb Ferguson, they're both not on the Yankees anymore after being acquired in the offseason. Caleb Ferguson, he's going to the Astros. Andrew Chafin, a.k.a. Big Country, one of my favorite nicknames in all of baseball. He's going from the Tigers to the Rangers. He's been very, very, very good this year. 3.1 ERA and 50 strikeouts in 37 innings. Big time ad for the defending champs. I should have talked about Paul Blackburn when I talked about Huascar, Brazoban, or whatever his name is. Paulie Punch-Outs, Paul Blackburn, he's on his way to the Mets. He's got a 4.4 ERA this year. He was very, very good to start the season, kind of fell off, but he's a former All-Star. Dylan Carlson, one of the most disappointing outfielders of the last decade. I truly thought that this guy was going to be a generational talent for St. Louis. Now, the one thing that is good about this trade, he's going to the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays, they always seem to figure out how to get the most out of someone. A Richie Palacios, a Randy Arozarena after getting traded from the Cardinals. So maybe this is Randy Arozarena 2.0. We don't know. And last but not least, super fast, the Yankees made another trade for a relief pitcher. So they get Mark Leiter and Enyel De Los Santos. He's got 1 million pitches. He's pretty good at striking guys out, but he's going to stress you out. Take that for me. He used to be with the Guardians. So without further ado, let's talk about the games from yesterday. Let's talk about Enyel's former team, the Padres. They're taking on the Dodgers in San Diego, and we know that the Padres and the Dodgers both made some splashes, but none of those splashes are in this game. LA rookie outfielder Andy Pages got one past the infield for a 2-run single, and well, Kevin Biggio is not bad at baseball. He's not useless. Who would have thought? He's batting .290 with 2 home runs over his last 7 games. Manny, he's got 15 home runs now. That started a big-time rally. The Padres popped off for 3 runs. Profar, he had an RBI single. Cronenworth, he doubled in Profar like 2 seconds later. And Manny, he's about to take the game over. He leaned over the railing. He makes the grab in front of Teoscar, and Teo, he was having some fun. He almost tried to take the ball away. Manny had one more web gem in his pocket. He glides over in foul territory. He barely snags it in front of the net, and he wasn't done yet, but I do have to show this play. Jackson Merrill, the rookie, he stole a base hit. So Manny and Jackson, they're both clutching up with the leather, and now the wood as well. Manny and Jackson go back-to-back off the nasty Blake Trinan, who has not been nasty off the IL. I really wish I was in attendance because this game has been incredible. I've never been to PNC in Pittsburgh. I talk about Petco like East Coasters talk about PNC. They're both just perfect baseball experiences. I got to go to Pittsburgh, by the way. Donovan Solano, we call him Donnie Barrels on this channel. He walks it off. That was one of the more fun games I've seen in the last few weeks. That was a good one. You know who's not a good one? Patrick Corbin of the Nationals. He's having one of the least valuable seasons I've ever seen. I'm not even BSing you guys. His contract was backloaded, so he's making almost $40 million this year. He gave up 11 runs. He almost has a 6 ERA again. Eugenio Suarez is having a monster July. Wait until you hear his stats. Arizona, they kept on scoring and scoring. It's now 6-0 after Perdomo, Moreno, Gurriel Jr., they all drove in a few, and Gino, is this dropping? The baseball gods have been on his side all month long, so 2 more doubles from Arizona bring it to 9-0. That's 7 consecutive hits, by the way. Gino, he added another long ball, 450 on his second of the night. Perdomo's been very good as well. He laced one to left, so it's 13-0. Emphasis on nothing because Ryan Nelson was masterful. He's another 702 kid that is just the Las Vegas area code. He was a shortstop when I played against him when he was at basic high school. Ryan, he shut out the Nationals over 7. He had 9 strikeouts. He allowed just 2 base hits hits. He had a 2.4 ERA in July, so he's a big reason why the Arizona Diamondbacks have been streaking. Gino's in that conversation as well. His third of the game. He hit 326 with 10 home runs, 27 RBIs in July, but there's still today. He can still add to that. The Snakes rack up 17 runs. Pavin Smith singled in one. Alec Thomas brought home the final two. I think 22 hits is a franchise record for the Diamondbacks in Chase Field. They had 7 guys with multiple hits. So Eugenio Suarez led the way with 3 home runs, but Jazz also had himself a big multi-home run game after Austin Hayes torched New York again. I kind of joked around last week that the Yankees won that Hayes trade because they don't have to deal with him anymore. I forgot that they were literally facing Austin's new team in a few days. Just impeccable timing. So Austin's 3-run home run put the Phillies up a few, and it's still a few, but Jazz, he brought it within 2 on his 3rd home run already as a Yankee. It's been 3 games. They get 4 home runs in 3 games. He's the first Yankee ever to have 4 home runs in their first 3 games. That's a 3-run rocket off of Aaron Nola, which is not easy to do. He pimped it as well. He's looking like one of the better trades of the last few years, but it's still early. I just think that Jazz is him. He's going to be so much better now that he's on a winning ball club. The only thing is Clay Holmes is still not, what's going on with Clay Holmes? He blew another game. His ERA since June 9th is now 5.9, and opposing hitters have a near 320 batting average against them. Hold up. Wait, Harper, he jolted one. It deflects off DJ. Glaber, he gets there. The threat is over. Now, the Phillies also got some help on defense. Marshy, he robs Glaber in the 10th inning, and we're going to skip to the 11th. Each team, they traded RBIs. Verdugo on the sac fly. Austin Hayes, just like Jazz, had a big night as well as a newcomer. He had 4 RBIs. Harper, he got intentionally walked. The Yankees want Bohm. Bohm smokes it, and Grisham, he saves the walk-off, and that allowed Jazz to get his 3rd base hit of the night, which moved Austin Wells over to 3rd base. Glaber, his sac fly put the Yankees back up by 1, and Michael Tonkin, he's been so good for them this year. He had 2 strikeouts in the final inning. The Phillies have lost 3 games in a row. The Yankees have won 4 games in a row. They haven't lost in the Jazz era. Remember though, pretty much any time the Yankees win, Baltimore finds a way to win, and vice versa. If the Yankees lose, the Orioles lose. This game was wrapped up by the 3rd. Anthony Santander, he let Gunnar turn on the turbos. He scored all the way from first base. Ramon Urias, he charged up for an Oppo Taco off of Chris Bassett, and Ryan O'Hearn, this might be the most MLB The Show hit I've ever seen. I'm throwing my controller if I was the Jays. Got jammed, beat, sawed off, whatever you want to call it. It worked. He drove in 2. And later in the 4th, Mullins, he stole second base, and Ramon Urias, he collected a 2nd RBI right before Santander also had a 2 RBI game. His 31st home run, 31 home runs for Tony Taters, 31 Taters we should have called it. Corbin Burns, another quality start, 7 strikeouts over 6 2/3. He has a career low in strikeouts per 9, but a 2.4 ERA. A lot of people have pointed to his decrease in strikeouts in 3 straight seasons ever since the sticky ban because the spin rate is down, but he's still very, very good. Again, it's all alleged. I'm not saying that he did use it. Sir Anthony struck out 2. He's going to be good for them. I can feel it. So Baltimore wins 6-2, and they keep first place, barely hanging on by a half game ahead of the Yankees, while the Mariners, they're looking for some payback and first place. The Mariners, they got jumped in game number 1, and game number 2 is not off to the best start. Newcomer Justin Turner had an RBI, but again, Boston put up a crooked number in 1 inning. Rafael Devers, a 3-run towering home run over the monster. That gives him 24 home runs. And by the way, he's hitting 301 on the year, but 320 since late April with 63 RBIs his last 81 games. Jorge Polanco might have finally found it. That's 5 home runs the last 9. Randy's up with multiple ducks on a pond. He beats out the throw after Rafael bobbled it. So it's now 3-3, a dead even game. It's now 4-3 Seattle. Justin Turner brought home Rivas on the ground out, and Dylan Moore, he just missed a grand slam. He clears the bases with a 3-run double. James Paxton, he was rocked for 6 runs in his return to Boston, but only 3 of them were earned. Polanco, I mean, he actually might be back. His 2nd RBI extra base hit, 9 RBIs his last 9 games. The Mariners make it a 10 spot on 2 miscues, a wild pitch from Raleigh, a throwing error allows Polanco to score. The Red Sox try to make a comeback, but yeah, they lose as Munoz struck out 2 in the 9th and a ground ball seals it. The Mariners, they could be back in first place if the Pirates can beat the Astros. Again, if Pittsburgh wins, the Mariners will reclaim sole possession of first place. And I know I talk standings every recap, and there's still a lot of games left, but do you want me to talk about them as often as I have? Let me know. So Pittsburgh traded a double play for a run, and yikes, Hunter Brown, he spiked a throw to first base. A broken bat roller turns into a 3-base error and a 2nd run scoring. But remember, because he made the error, it's an unearned run against himself, talking about Hunter Brown. Jared Triolo, he line went to left field. He's from Houston, so a 2-out RBI double, that's got to feel great. Another liner From Yiner, he has an extra base hit in 5 of his last 6 games. He's batting .295 on the year as a catcher. He absolutely rakes. Michael A. Taylor, another home run. He had a 3-run home run versus Josh Hader the night before, a 2-run home run off of Hunter Brown. He ruined Hunter's streak. Hunter had gone 6+ innings in 12 consecutive starts. He's pulled 1 out away from extending that streak. He goes 5 2/3. We're going to fast forward to the 8th. G1 Bay said no to the Astros rally. He makes the grab that ends the 8th inning, and I'll just spoil it. The Pirates, they went 6-2 after Altuve got robbed. The Pirates have won 3 games in a row. The Astros have lost 3 games in a row, and they lose first place. They didn't have sole possession. They were tied with first place, but they're now in second. We still have the Rangers to talk about, and it seemed like they were facing off against the 2017 Cardinals because Lance Lynn is on the bump. Matt Carpenter is the DH, and Tommy Pham is in the lineup as well. Mason gave himself the green light on the first pitch of the game. He's got 7 home runs. Wyatt Langford, another rookie. That's a game tire. Staying with Langford, though, Matt Carpenter, Sky went to left field, and Wyatt, he missed the catch. So Carpenter, he's in there with a double. Brandon Crawford, he sees Max Scherzer very, very well. He's now 7 for 19 against Scherzer after the RBI double. Lars Nootbaar, he did the same. He gets a 2-bag RBI. Max, he's out after 4 innings. Cody Bradford's in, and Burleson, he doesn't care about matchups. That's an RBI base hit. It's 4-1 St. Louis, and they loaded the bases up for pinch hitter Tommy Pham. In his first at-bat back, he secures a grand slam. So Matt Carpenter doubled, Tommy Pham hit a grand slam, and Lance Lynn allowed 1 run over 5. Aside from a 10-run stinker a couple weeks ago, Lynn has been very good. He's gone 5+ innings with 2 runs or fewer allowed in 5 of his last 6. The Rangers, they're 4.5 games back now after dropping this game, while St. Louis, they're keeping pace with the Pirates. They're both neck and neck at 2 games back of a wildcard spot in the NL. I'm not sure what the future holds for these 2 teams because the Reds and the Cubs are both technically in the race, but every win from here on out is going to feel like 2 wins. Cincinnati is the place of nightmares for Justin Steele, and that did not change in this one. TJ Friedl had a 3-run home run the day before, and there was an RBI single off the tough lefty. Santiago Espinal loves lefties. I don't care if it's a tough lefty or an easy one. His 2-run Oppo Taco brings his OPS plus on the season to 120 against Southpaws. Tyler Stevenson, he is Justin Steele's boogeyman. He is now 10 for 17 off of Steele. It's like a .590 batting average. Steele has allowed 5 earned runs in 2 of his last 3. The Cubs will not be winning this one, but I can show this belly bomb. He's got 10 home runs and a 111 OPS plus. He had 26 and a 136 OPS plus last year. Cincinnati grabbed their final run in the 8th as Santiago secured his first ever 4-hit game, and Spencer Steer, he brought home the pinch runner Will Benson. Steer has 26 doubles, 15 home runs, 65 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, and he's played 5 positions this year. He's a fantasy god as the Reds, they've won 2 in a row, and they're now tied in the wild card at 5 games back with the Giants. That's because the Giants gave up 4 home runs after having one of the weirdest trade deadlines I've ever seen because they trade Jorge Soler. You replace him with Mark Canha. They did not trade Snell in a red-hot pitcher's market, so I guess they're still going for a playoff spot. I don't know about it, though, because Daz Cameron has 5 home runs now on the season. Oakland has 42 this month, and they're about to add to it, make it 43. Butler, he's Mr. July, or is Brent Rooker Mr. July? Butler's hitting .379 with 10 home runs and 27 RBIs. Rooker is now hitting .410 with 11 home runs and 30 RBIs, and still 1 game to add to those totals. JP Sears, he seared the Giants. He blanks the Giants over 7 innings. He had 9 strikeouts. He's one of the most confusing pitchers in baseball. Ramos was in disbelief, and JP kind of mocked him like, that was a strike. What are you doing? Elliott, he got ejected, and so did Bob Melvin, I think. JJ Bleday, another home run versus a lefty. He's got 13 home runs, 47 extra base hits, and a 125 OPS plus versus lefties this year. Rookie Tyler Ferguson, he ended things with a strikeout, so the A's, they're now 16-14 over their last 30, and they got some pieces. They have to spend on pitching, though, which is like me saying I want to grow to 6'4" in the next year. It's just not going to happen. John Fisher is probably not going to spend money. So we already saw the Red Sox lose, and we're going to shift back to the AL wildcard now because Salvi, he somehow got Luis Robert Jr. at second base. I love Salvi. He's been raking. He's been a better framer, but his arm strength is some of the weakest in the league, but he got the job done. And Luis, he made a nice play in return. He robbed Kansas City after he got robbed of a stolen base. Luis, maybe another... Nope, that is not going to be a home run robbery chance. Michael Massey, he ties it on his 9th home run. And Michael, I think, has a 97 OPS plus, so he's just barely under being league average. Same with Andrew Vaughn, not really. He had another home run, but he's got an 89 OPS plus, which is not great. He's got 13 home runs, and Jonathan Cannon, he was fantastic. One hit over 7 innings against the Royals. He gets a nice handshake. He's out the game. Cannon and Thorpe, they're one offseason at driveline away from being disgusting because they're both tall. They need velo and extension. For some reason, they just don't have great extension for being that tall. Cannon's fantastic day was ruined as Bobby Witt Jr. dunked one in. Everyone was playing back. Michael Garcia scores, and look at Bobby fly. Vinny goes the other way. Bobby scored from first base, so Vinny gets a 2-run double. That hustle really saved the Royals because the Sox made a 1-run game in the 8th, so again, it's 4-3. It would have been 3-3. Sam Long, his insane 2024 continued. That rainbow curve ends it. The Royals have won 2 games in a row, and they're 2 games up of the Red Sox in the wild card. And now the Royals are tied again with Minnesota, and it wasn't like David Festa and the Twins got bum rushed. You have David Festa striking out Alonso. Brooks Lee started a sick double play, but David didn't really help himself out later on. He walks Brandon Nimmo. He then balked. He then threw a wild pitch to allow Brandon Nimmo to get from first to third in the blink of an eye without doing anything, and then Nimmo, he can score easy as JD Martinez makes it 1-0. This next sequence was kind of sad because they're showing David's family. They're praying like, please nothing than Mark Vientos. He crushes one. Vientos rakes, so it's nothing really to scoff at. No shame in that. He's got 15 home runs and a 153 OPS plus. I don't know if that's his dad or his grandpa, but he was bummed. Sean Manaea was incredible. He got Miranda for his 10th strikeout. Now he's going to make it 11, a new season high. As a Guardians fan, I really wanted Sean Manaea, but the Mets started playing insane baseball, so we lost out on that chance. Manaea goes 7 scoreless, which is 2 base hits allowed. He's been really good over his last, 100 innings. The Twins were threatening a little bit when Edwin, he was sent out with 2 outs in the 8th inning. He got Buxton in the chase, and then he goes 1-2-3 in the 9th inning to seal a 4-out save. Edwin has 13 saves. The Mets have won 2 games in a row. They're now 7 games over 500, while the Twins, again, they're back with the KC, tied for 2nd place in the Central and the wild card. Cleveland's had a fantastic last week and a half. Josh Naylor, it looks like his body goes limp every time he hits a home run. He just kind of shrugs it off like, I've done that before. Gavin Williams, he made it rain. Terrible pun, but you can barely even see the game because it's raining pretty good. Gavin, he shook it off for his 5th and 6th strikeout before the 5th inning. Rookie Daniel Schneemann, he's really cooled off, so that's fun to see. He's driving in runs again. It's 2-0 for Gavin, who blew it past Jake Rogers, and same with Matt Vierling. Gavin is 6'6", and that rising fastball looks awful to face. I think that's what Jonathan Cannon and Drew Thorpe can do if they add some velo or extension, because that's what Gavin is amazing at, velo and extension. He had 8 strikeouts over 5 shutout, and he has a 2.5 ERA his last 25 innings. That is huge for the Guardians, and same with these next few swings. Lane Thomas with the 106 mile per hour single, and he's off for 2nd, but we're not going to be able to see his speed because Jose just went yard. He's officially 2nd all-time. He passes Albert Bell for the 2nd most home runs in Cleveland baseball history. No way that this guy does not make the Hall of Fame. Brian Rocchio channeled his inner J-Ram. The rookie switch hitter went yard as well. Clase, no save, but the Guardians, they've won 6 of their last 8. Huge. What do you guys think about the Rays, huh? So they traded Randy Rosarena, Isaac Paredes, Zach Eflin, but they're still winning games. Now, it started off a little shaky, and Manuel Rivera, he hit a 2-run home run off of Springers, who just came off the IL, and what a catch from that fan. And what a swing from the newcomer, Christopher Morel. That's his first hit as a Tampa Bay Ray. He also just homered as I'm recording this video, so that'll be in tomorrow's recap. Oh no, another hard hit off of Jeffrey Springs. I'm surprised that Jake Berger didn't get traded, but then again, he's also under team control until 2029, so I guess I get it. Tampa, they fought for their starter. Josh Lowe brought home Brandon Lau, and Ben Rortvedt, he stole the lead with a 2-run single. Yandy, he clutched up with the bases loaded, so 2 more runs scored on the Yandy knock. And look at this, Caballero, he laced a double in the 7th inning, so Josh Lowe, he flew all the way to score from first base. Jose, he's now on 3rd, and he's off for the races. They called it a bog. No, he was in there safe with an easy stolen base of home. Brandon Lau, he had an RBI to end it. The Rays, they win big time. Tampa's won 3 games in a row, and they're tied with the Astros at 3.5 games back in the wild card. Now back to the NL wild card. Atlanta, they have to keep stacking W's because San Diego, Arizona, and the Mets are all on fire. They can threaten the Braves' wildcard spot if they're not careful. Soler, he should be in the lineup soon, which lengthens this big-time lineup. And Bryce Elder, he was good for once. He struck out guys left and right, and then he makes a magic trick that's a behind-the-back snag. 3 RBI singles that made it 4-0 versus Joe Ross and the Brewers. Riley, Ozuna, Rosario, they all connected for base hits. Kelnick, he ended a brutal stretch. He was 3 for his last 55 coming into this game. He's still in that leadoff spot, so he rewarded them for trusting in him. As Elder punched out 7 Brewers, he was fantastic. Rizal got 3 outs on 9 pitches. Just an easy game to recap. Oof, after not trading Tyler Anderson, Taylor Ward, or Luis Rengifo, Anthony Rendon was on the IL and Trout suffered a setback. The Halos found themselves down 6-2 after Ryan McMahon blasted off for a 3-run tater. He got one over the left field wall. His whole family was in attendance, by the way. The Rockies, they didn't do anything either. They should have traded Cal Quantrill, and it's now a 1-run game. Matt Thaiss, he started his big 4 RBI day with 2 in the third, and again, it's a 1-run game now because Taylor Ward had 3 RBIs. He had 2 in the first. I just forgot to show it. Matt Thaiss, he blooped in 1 for his 3rd and 4th RBI. They were winning. Ezequiel Tovar, he tied it with his 18th home run. But what about this? Joe Adell now has 16 home runs. Joe went even further than Tovar. He went 440 feet on that moon bomb. Zach Neto, he turned in a sac bunt for an RBI, and wait, Matt Thaiss actually had a 5 RBI night. That's a new career high and crazy. The Angels are 13 games under 500, but still just 9 games back of first place. I'm not saying they're going to make it, but you would have thought that they're 20 games back. But the AL East is a little bit weaker this year. Oh man, these trade deadline videos have been monsters. They have been so much work to make, but I appreciate you guys watching. If you made it all the way until the end, thumbs up to you guys. Do me a favor, leave a thumbs up of your own, and enjoy the web gems. I'm going to go now.
On the moves that were made.
Bounce to short, good backhand, Taylor Cruz from the outfield.
Polanco sends this one into left center field, dropping quickly, a dive! And
Scored late. Schmidt. Via.
2-2, Sky to the infield. Foul ground for Manny Machado, going as far as he can, and Manny will make the catch.
It was a crazy deadline day. What a play by Ketel Marte, the All-Star.
2. Paredes, an opportunity on the move.